Georgia's coming up soon, and obviously getting out the vote is critical. But of those, eligible AAPI voters in Georgia, and Indians being a big part of that,
Yeah.
what's the message for those AAPI or Indian voters who are Republicans who didn't vote for a Democratic candidate? What's the message for them now in this runoff election, particularly?
Good question. We spend so much time in our echo chambers.
Yeah.
Even though I have to put my mind back in Carbon County, right, where I talk to Republicans every other door.
Right.
But often we're just thinking about Democrats. How do we turn out the base? What I would say to South Asian Republicans, at least, think about the issues that you really care about, and most of them are probably voting on a tax perspective. They're probably not receptive to Trump on the social issues or kind of the immigration type issues. They're probably voting their pocketbooks, I would assume. But I would just tell them, to think about, our future generations. For me, one of the most important issues is climate. And, if you're someone who believes in science and believes in facts, you recognize that our country has to do something about the carbon emissions that we're, putting into the air every day, that are basically, it's like we're in our garage and we have the car,
Right.
ignition on, and we're just filling it up, and it's toxic, and we're on a path for the sea levels rising, for places like in India and Bangladesh on the coast to be underwater. We're going to have national security issues as a result of climate refugees. And this is not just in the far off 100-year future. This is in the next 20 years. This is in our lifetime. This is definitely something that our kids are going to be dealing with. And the Republican Party, quite frankly, just is not going to do anything to tackle this, and is not. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are at least, to give them credit, trying to do something, and they're trying to build the international coalition and the Paris Agreement, which many people say is not enough, to be frank.
Sure.
And we need to go beyond that. But, if you think just beyond kind of the immediate sense, and there are people who make the argument on the pocketbook issues that it's, the whole lower tax. If you're making under 400,000, you're going to be fine. You're not going to get your taxes raised. But I just think the responsibility of government is on these issues that are collective action problems. No one can solve climate change on their own. It needs to be governments working together, enacting policies that drastically change the way that we draw energy and from what sources. So there's really no choice there in terms of between the parties, and that's all I would. Yeah, that's my plea for the planet.